Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Let's Play, or Read, I guess. Yeah. Let's Read Radical Dreamers, sponsored by Square Enix. We are still looking through the place here, right? We found a door. Something stinks. Reckon we just found the Beast Slayer, lads. Oh boy, more accents. In the darkness, Kid's lips twisted into a grin that turned my blood cold. Well, if she wants to go here, let's go inside. Kid opened the door and slipped inside. All right. It is interesting. Reading through some of the information about this game, it did say to play the 6 stories in Radical Dreamers. I have no idea if that means there's 6 routes or what, so I'm curious. It was Lynx's room, but he didn't seem to be around. Heh, that bugger's gone and scarpered? Like scampered? Scarpered 'cause he heard I was coming. There was something deeply unpleasant about this room. There wasn't anything unusual with the furnitures and fitting, not how they looked or how they were made, but taken as a whole, it all felt discordant. Better than Skypint, am I right? Was this a reflection of Lynx? A seemingly ordinary facade that hid a disturbing truth only some could see? Right. I bet we'll find the key to the vault in here, or a clue about where to find it. Oh no, that was me. Never mind, I was doing a bad kid impression. Surge. I started searching through the room. The desk drawers, the paintings on the wall, the vase on top of the side table. I left no stone unturned. There didn't seem to be anything suspicious. But as I scanned the room, something unusual caught my eye. There was a pedestal in one corner with a significant-looking scarlet cloth drawn over it. I slowly raised my hand toward it. I carefully peeled the cloth away, revealing a mirror. Alright. It was old-fashioned, and of an elaborately decorated style I've seen before, and in it was reflected a statue of Venus. That's curious that it's a statue of a god from our world. Suddenly, the eyes of the statue shone with light. Oh, jump scare. Ah! Ah! What is your desire? That's scary. The mirror, it's speaking. Kid and Magil ran to my side. There's no need for panic. It's a whispering mirror, nothing more, said Magil flatly. What's one of those? A magical mirror in which a spirit dwells. The spirit can freely move between its own and other mirrors, and will share its wisdom with those who ask. Interesting. I mean, ask about kids' measurements. I want to know kids' measurements, I blurted out. The wind was immediately knocked out of me by one of Kid's trademark kicks. Look. The mirror is showing us something, muttered Magil, thoughtfully pointing at it. Kid, who was sitting on my back and bashing my head into the ground, stopped what she was doing and glanced at the mirror. I looked up as well. Watery ripples flowed from the center of the glass, and then a series of numbers began to float up from below. 5275? Wait, that doesn't... What? Well, I was reading the numbers. Is that saying... Okay, 52... 75? Because there's no way. There's no way it's 7. There's no... Right? Huh. Kid mashed right in my face. Who told you to look, creep? I had no idea what the figures even meant, though. Kid seemed confused as well. She's like, yeah, it's not her. Oh, okay. It was up to Magil to explain it in his usual deadpan manner. Her height, shoe size, and ring size. I guess those are her measurements. 5'2"? She's a womanlet. Shoe size 7? It's important information. And ring size 5. Was that it? I felt so cheated. Well, that's not what I meant. I started. But the mirror had fallen silent. Didn't seem to be listening anymore. Oh, did I actually make a mistake? The spirit of the mirror appears to have moved on, muttered Magil. Really? What a waste. Kid glared at me, her arms folded. Well, now you know me measurements. You won't have any trouble finding me some nice new shoes, a pair of boots, and a pretty ring to say sorry when we get out of here, eh? You owe me, and you better not forget it. I'd really gone and dropped myself in it this time. Hey, what if we were to, like... Well, what was the code to get out of this? There was a code. I forget what it was. Wasn't it like... Was it these two and these two? No. Was it every button at once? Oh, there's end game up there, actually. Wait. Yeah, end game. Let's honestly, I'm gonna reload that. And let's try that again. This time, wherein I don't try to find a funny scene and actually try to advance the plot. Right? Okay. We go into the door. Here we're going. Okay, something stinks. We found the beast slayer. All right, let's go inside, and this time let's actually ask for something to help us. Those weren't the measurements I wanted. Just goes to show, if you ever are in a situation where you can ask for anything, be specific. Don't use colloquialisms. You will get completely beat. You'll get ruined, right? All right, there's the thing. All right, so let's go through there. I'm not going to put on auto text. That's spooky. That's real spooky. I don't know if I like that. All right, what is your desire? The mirror it's speaking. Okay, no need for panic. What's one of those? Magical mirror in which the spirit dwells. Okay, so let's ask where the key to the vault is. Do you know where the key to the vault is? The mirror's reflection rippled and changed to reveal a room with numerous bookshelves. Oh, that's a library. A deep, sonorous voice spoke. You'll find the key in the place I've revealed, the study. It is inside a book with a purple cover in the furthest bookshelf from the door. Perfect! The image of the study vanished from the mirror and the voice went silent. It appears the spirit has left for another mirror, commented Madrigal. To the study, then. As I made to leave the room, a low voice rumbled through the air, stopping me dead in my tracks. Beware. He knows. Was it the voice of the mirror again? What did it mean? Hurry up or we're leaving you behind, Sedge, called Kid from outside. Flustered, I rushed after her. Well, that's not good. The corridor stretched out beyond the door. We retraced our steps. Eventually, we came to an ornate door. It was Riddell's room, Lynx's daughter. Well, if he knows, we gotta continue on our way. Came down until we reached an intersection. There was a left leading to some stairs going upward. Okay, so we want to go upward to these stairs, because it was on the up one. Passageway to the stairs was short. With the kid leading the way, we started climbing the narrow staircase. At the top, we found another intersection. It leads to a dead end with a large door. Okay, so we want to go to the to the terrace. Right? It was toward the terrace. No, toward the study. There we go. We headed down to the side passage. At the end of it, we came to an old, immaculately polished door. This was the study. We went inside. Yeah, that's what we were looking for. Right. Let's find this key. Light on her feet as always, Kid moved into the center of the room. Where'd the mirror say it was again, Sedge? She was asking me. How was I supposed to remember? It was with a purple cover in the... Oh. Was it purple in the far? I think it was in the far. I think it was supposed to be with a purple cover in the furthest bookcase. Alright, let's see. Seemingly to take my word for it, Kid made for the case in question. Right, this one. Purple cover, purple cover. Ah, this gotta be it. Kid pulled the book from the bottom shelf. I remember purple. Didn't remember the second part. Imagine I watched as she opened it. The pages were hauled out, and inside was an old key decorated with strange symbols. Nailed it. Nice one, Sedge. Kid snatched the key from inside the book. Right, time to finally get a look at this treasure. Having got what we came for, we left the study. Done in one, baby. Alright, so back at the intersection. Stairs lead downward, corridor branched left and right with the right lead. Okay, so it's to the left branch this time, right? Beyond, to the side, merged the main corridor, found ourselves in front of some ornate double doors. Is this the one? I forget which one it is. Kid pushed doors being side. Doesn't look like anyone's in there. Seemed to be the main hall of the manor. Oh, this is new. There was a massive table, beautiful decorations on the walls, and thick columns decorated with sculptures of birds and beasts. Fixed to the wall in the back towered a tremendous pipe organ like a burnished black mountain. Dozens of candles provided a dim flickering light, sending the corners of the room dancing in and out of shadow. Several enormous portraits glowered down from on high on the wall. Were those members of Lynx's family? I was busy staring at the painting depicting a young husband and wife when I realized that their eyes had turned to look right at me. Okay, no, they hadn't. Don't worry, this is about to turn into some dumb ghost story. Yeah, it's not as if there's ghosts in Chrono Trigger. It looked that way because the way the flickering lights of the candles reflect against the glossy oil paints. This is definitely in the realm of spooky, though. Obviously, probably. This place gives me the creeps, and get it out of all those ugly mugs. None for us here. Let's look somewhere else. Neither Magil or I had any objections. We left the hall and returned to the corridor, in case it wasn't here. Eventually led us to an intersection, stairs going down to the right in a dark side passage. Straight on. Okay, so we want to go towards the terrace, because it was on the other side of the terrace. After a short walk down the corridor, the terrace came into view. So we kept following the corridor. We haven't gone out the terrace yet. So, leading the group as usual, Kid suddenly stopped. What was that? She jabbed her finger at something in the darkness. Straining my eyes, I could see a pale white bundle of something shaking in the shadows. Huh, that's strange. I moved in front of Kid to try to get a better look. And then suddenly this strange presence started crawling across the floor towards us at an unbelievable speed. I didn't have time to brace myself. The white figure reached my foot, then reared up to its full height. It was a skeleton! Oh, it's spooky! See, okay, so here's the thing. This would have been... I was like, oh man, I'm kind of freaked out. What's it going to be? And as soon as it's a skeleton, all tension's gone. Skeletons are the least scary thing in humanity. I've never been scared of a skeleton. The skeleton I stood face to face, its empty eye socket staring straight at me, or seeming to at least. What was I going to do? Tackle skeleton! I charged in and tackled it. Yeah! There was a crunching sound and clattering of bones as the skeleton was knocked back by the blow. Its body split clean in two at the waist. Better luck next time, muttered Kid dryly. As if in response, the skeleton's upper body picked itself up from the ground, turning its skull towards me. Balancing its body with its left hand, it then pulled the skull from its head with its right hand. What's it doing? Before I could get the words out, it heaved its skull at me. Dodge! Whoosh, the skull sailed past me as I quickly stepped aside. Ow, only to smash the kid who was standing right behind me. Ah, bloody hurt! What'd you move out of the way for? She returned the favor by thumping me in the back of the head. Magil walked over to where the skull lay on the floor and stamped on it, shattering its pieces. The rest of the skeleton collapsed, falling apart with a clatter. It didn't move after that. We're done here. Let's get moving. That could have gone better, but I was starting to feel a little worse for wear. I was going to have to be more careful. This was going to end badly. Not bad, Sedge. Not bad at all. Didn't know you had it in ya. There's a mischievous glint in Kid's eyes. She roared me with a few rare words of praise, even though I had her get hit. Alright, an ancient-looking door again on our right. Look like this is the way the clock tower. So we continue on from the clock tower. Return to creeping down the darkened hallway as silently as we could. Continuing on from the corridor, we came across a rather sturdy-looking door on our left. A little further on stood a stairway leading upward. Well, this door's meant to clearly be keeping something safe. There ain't some kind of treasure behind it. Me name ain't Kid. Yep, that's the smell of cold, hard cash, all right, she muttered to herself. She began to inspect it. Well, let's go inside. This should do it. Kid slipped the key we found into the lock. Lines of magical light flashed across the surface of the door and vanished as various magical barriers were dispelled. Well, that's not... Wait, what? Up, down, left, right. Blue, red, green. That seems important. Up, down, left, right, blue, red, green. Up, down, left, right, blue, red, green. Okay. Every color under the sun. When all's quiet, the darkness of the manor returned. Right. We're in. That's definitely sneaky and stealthy. No one will find us. With a creak, the heavy door gently swung open. As soon as I saw what was inside, I gave a gasp. Kid stepped inside. Whoa! We've hit the mother lode! Whoa! Out of the darkness loomed a veritable mountain of gold, silver, priceless works of art, and exquisite trinkets. Kid looked as if she were on the verge of drooling at the sight of it, but what thief wouldn't have been? After all, this was the kind of hoard that few people would have come across in their lifetime. The smallest fraction of this vast mound of riches would have seen even the most careless spendthrift set for life. Our goal is the frozen flame. Ignore the rest. Magil spoke with an icy dedication to our mission. He had not even batted an eyelid at the sight that greeted us. Yeah, I know. She was disappointed, of course, but she soon set about scanning the room for the object of our hunt. Wait, is that it? Oh, on the pedestal over there. I turned to see what Kid was pointing at. Yo. There it was. Ooh. It sounds Chrono Triggery. Right? Did anyone else hear that? Where it's like you listen and you're like, yeah, you can hear it. You can hear the sort of Chrono Triggery parts of it. There was a small yet perfectly formed jewel that gave off a pale red light. A jewel that looked like a flickering fire suspended in time. The frozen flame. Silently. Magil walked toward it. I called out, wait, we have to be careful. Right? We have to be careful. You're right. You're right. This is links we're dealing with, after all. It may very well be trapped. We should be on our guard. We need to be quick about this, but fine, have it your way. Grumbled Kid, looking away. Magil examined the pedestal for a short while, then paused. We were wise to be cautious. Placing his left hand on the base of the pedestal, he muttered an incantation, drawing quick sigils in the air with his right hand. Some glyphs appeared on its smooth surface and for a moment blazed brightly. There, now we can proceed. Magil calmly reached out and grabbed hold of the red jewel. Dun da 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 da! Serge and his friends obtained the frozen flame! That's amazing. Well, now we just gotta escape, right? Huh! We managed to get what we came for without anything horrible happening to us! I breathed a sigh of relief and turned again to Magil. He was staring silently at the jewel in his hands. Magil, we did it! Let's get out of... Before I could finish, the frozen flame crumbled to dust. This flame was a fake. Lynx must be keeping the real one somewhere safe. What? Suddenly a siren rang out. The room was flooded with light and metal bars slammed down in front of the door. I turned with a gasp to see Kid frozen, a ornate crown in her hands, and a wide-eyed look of awkward shock on her face. Kid. Dun da 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 da. Kids and her friends obtained a gold crown too. You're kidding me, right? You had to go and you complete bonehead. I let rip with a stream of choice insults in my head, that is. Metallic parrots in the four corners of the room suddenly came to life, flapping their wings through. Thieves! We're in trouble. We're in trouble. These things are going nowhere, said Magil, inspecting the bars covering the door. Although, to look at him, you wouldn't have thought that there was anything wrong. Which way? The parrots, the vault, the parrot. Wait, what? Oh, that's, we heard voice in the distance. The manor guards were coming. Kid dived behind a pile of gold coins. Find someone to hide! In a panic, I looked around the room. There's a large chest sitting wide open next to a pillar. I rushed to empty it out, then plunged in headfirst and closed the lid. Captain! There's no sign of anyone in there, no sign. Strange, peculiar. No one has ever escaped before. None have ever fled the mousetrap's clutches, none. I gently pushed the lid of the chest and peeked through the gap. There were 5 goblins wearing suits of armor unlocking the gate and about to make their way inside. One of the goblins looked around the room, jerking his neck as if peering into the shadows.
Captain, what if it was actually a mouse this time? Chef was grumbling about the mouses the other day, Captain.
A mouse, a rodent, a rat. Would a teeny tiny thing like that really have sprung the trap? Replied a stocky, plump-looking goblin who must be the captain. He didn't seem convinced. That was when I heard a strange but oddly familiar sound from a corner of the room. That's my best mouse impression. It was coming from where Kid was hiding. Startled, the troop of goblins stopped and looked at each other. For a moment, none of them spoke. Eventually, the goblin captain rubbed his chin through his jowls and offered his thoughts. Mouses? I'm sure Chef was complaining about cats. Meow! Meow! That voice again. Again, silence. The goblins only looked at each other. Funny you should say that, Captain. Way I heard it, it weren't mouses or cats, it was a heckran. An awkward silence followed. In my mind's eye, I could see Kid racking her brains to work out what the heck a heckran was. It's funny, because we beat one of those in Chrono Trigger. I smell a rat. By which I mean a thief. Following the captain's lead, the guards reached for their weapons, and then... Heck! 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 Run! Heck! Run!
Listen, really, it's a heckran, by heck, that proves it.
The goblin guards grinned and nodded to each other.
Cheeky little devil surprised me there. Let's get out of here, boys.
The goblins filed out of the vault. I breathed a sigh of relief. What are you talking about, little devil? Heckrens are massive. And then they came charging back in again with a mighty roar. There's no such thing as Heckrens. Uh-oh. What, you sneaky little buggers? Roared Kid, leaping out from behind a pile of gold coins. You want to talk, thief? Brandishing their weapons menacingly, the goblins moved slowly forward, forcing Kid into a corner. I quietly eased open the lid of the coffer and slipped out. Can't leave you anywhere, can I? Muttered to myself. I really appreciate this getting a very modern translation. This wouldn't be like this on the Super Nintendo. This is great. I knew Kid could handle herself, but I didn't fancy her odds against a whole troop of heavily armed goblins. For a moment, I wasn't sure what to do, but then I made up my mind. Oh, I had to save Kid. Right, I had to save Kid. There was no way I was going to abandon a friend in need. Even if it meant facing off against a group of 5 goblin guards, I'd find a way to come out on top, I hoped. I drew the knife from my belt and left it in the middle of the room. Hey, snot for brains, over here! The goblins all turned to look at me at the same time. 10 beady, cruel little eyes all staring daggers at me. Fool, in a hurry to die, are we? I gulped, wondering if making a run for it might have been a better plan after all.
Humans are so stupid.
The goblin captain chuckled and licked his teeth.
Yep, this one's got a death wish all right. Why else would he be so stupid as to come after Lord Lynx's treasure?
It's the first being called dumb by a bloody goblin. Start acting tough when you're crying to your mum later on.
Oh wait, no, that was Kid. I thought that was a goblin saying that. I'm like, wow, this goblin sounds like Kid.
That's your first being called dumb by a bloody goblin. Try acting tough when you're crying to your mum later on.
Judging by Kid's response, she wasn't feeling massively threatened.
And you tell her it was Kid who kicked your teeth in. So you're Kid, are you? A sneaky little slippery little thief we heard so much about.
The goblin narrowed his eyes.
Lord Lynx will be thanking me from now on till retirement when I bring him your head on a silver platter.
Battle theme? The goblin captain pulled his morning star from his waist and started swinging.
You don't know who you're messing with. We ain't no ordinary goblin, sweetheart. We're Lynx's elite guard. The goblins that gobble other goblins. That's right. The Gob Squad. Oh, quit shooting your mouth out and let me stick a boot in it. And with that, Kid launched into a lightning-fast spinning kick. Her boot connected with the side of the goblin's head with a crack, sending the creature tumbling to the ground. Get him, lads. The boy looks scrawny. Start with him.
The goblin spun the heavy metal ball of the morning star in the air. Glorious gob strike! Aye, aye! The goblins charged across the room in response to their captain's command. Gob strike incoming! No, I can't parry that. I'm gonna dodge that. I swiftly dodged the attack. The morning star brushed past my cheek. I don't know how, but I managed to escape unscathed. I lost my balance though and fell clumsily to the floor. Kid lashed out with lightning-fast kick. There's more where that came from.
Please have mercy.
The stricken goblin collapsed to the floor, its eyes wide with fear. This isn't a game, Surge. Watch yourself, will ya? Another goblin flew down from overhead. Bums away! With a growl, it sent its morning star toward me. I rolled away! I rolled across the floor, dodging the attack, but I wasn't fast enough. The airball, crashed straight in my back. I let out a howl as the force of the impact juddered through my body. Never felt such raw pain in my life. I rolled around the floor in agony.
Dance for me, boy. Let me hear you sing.
As I crawled on the floor, the shadow of the goblin towered over me like a black mountain.
Die, brat!
Its lips curled around its fangs in a leering grin, and it raised a weapon up over its head. Oh no, you don't. You have to get through me first. Oh no, that's Magil. I hate when they don't tell you who it is. Magil conjured up a black wind, which surged forth like a shearing tempest.
How does a human know a spell like that? Who are you?
The goblin was quickly silenced as the rushing wind tore through it, and it collapsed to the floor with a final shriek. Magil looked down at its victim, his expression unchanged. My head was spinning, but I managed to take the opportunity to rise to my feet. Gob strike incoming! Okay, this is going to be another dodge. Swiftly dodged, the morning star brushed past my cheek, didn't know how, but I managed to escape. Lost my balance, fell to the floor. Kid lashed out with a kick, there's more where that came from. Please have mercy. Stricken goblin collapsed to the floor. This isn't a game, watch yourself. This time I'm going to counter. Okay, sent its morning star. I jumped up for a counterattack. I was better off attacking than trying for a clumsy dodge. I attacked the goblin head on. Literally, I smashed my skull into the goblin's grim visage as hard as I could. A shock ran through my neck and shoulders like I'd been brained with a hammer. But it was worth it. Teeth and spittle flew left and right as the great ugly brute rolled stunned across the floor.
Long live Lord Lynx, glory to the Gob Squad!
With these final words, the goblin collapsed. That was the last of them. We made it. It was the same thing twice. Ah, piece of cake, said Kid, putting on a brave face on things as she wiped the sweat from her brow with her arm. And then she stopped and looked at me. Sedge, what were you thinking, you great Drogo? Getting the goblins come after you like that? Really didn't have to, you know? Kid gazed softly at me, her blue eyes like the cool glow of the moon. She seemed to be trembling slightly. She looked down at the ground, hiding her face. Thanks. I'll never forget what happened tonight. Even if we go our separate ways, even if we never meet again, ever. And then Magil stepped in. Save the chatter for later. We can't waste any more time here. The frozen flame must be somewhere else in the manor. All right, mate. Thanks for stating the obvious. It's not my bloody fault that Lynx has to make things so bloody difficult for everyone. Kid spun on her heel and made a sulky about face for the door. Suddenly her attention returned to the pile of defeated goblins. This bunch of Drogos said that Lynx is elite guard, right? Bet they got some nice loot on them. With that, she started unceremoniously rummaging through the fallen captain's pockets. It was like a hyena sniffing for scraps. Hello, hello. What's this? She found an odd metal plate that's going in the mouth. Yep, it resembled an open hand and was covered in runes. Reckon this might open some other magic door somewhere. That was in the basement. Well, never know when it might come in handy either way. Finders keepers. The plate vanished into Kid's pocket. Looks like there's nothing else worth taking unless you count pocket lint and bits of string. She rose to her feet and looked around the room. You know, it's a real shame to leave the rest of this loot just, lying here unloved. Suppose we can come back for it whenever. Kid turned to face us and flashed a grin. All right, lads, get a move on. It ain't gonna be dark forever. That hand-shaped plate is our only clue for now, muttered Magil, seemingly to himself. And with that, we left the vault in search of the real frozen flame. Yeah, that's going in the hand. It's going in the mouth of truth. Because you're supposed to put hands in there. Left and right, path led to the terrace. Stairs going upward. No, we want to go toward the terrace. Okay, come into a door. So we want to go... So that's the clock tower. We continue on. Short walk, the terrace came into view. Kept following the corridor. Rattle, Kid stopped us. There's something here. I listened carefully. Rattle, rattle, rattle. Figure appeared in the darkness of it's going to be a skeleton. It's a skeleton! We readied ourselves for a fight. What was I going to do? I attacked. Come on then, I leapt at the skeleton. I lashed at it with its sword. Oh, it lashed out. Blood dripped from my face. The tip of the blade had scratched my cheek. Jumped back in a panic. Hope you brought your brown trousers, grumbled Kid. Skeletons can't poop. We scared her off against the skeleton, threw its sword it was carrying to the ground, took a step forward, and it twisted his body into a strange pose. Wait, is it doing what I think it's doing? It proceeded to contort itself further, adopting a shape that could only be described as highly suggestive. For a moment, no one quite knew how to respond. What the bloody hell? What should we... Wait, Kid, look at Madge! Magil seemed completely bewitched. There was no way he'd be of any use. We gotta attack it. Come on then, I charged the skeleton. Took advantage of the opening when it raised its sword and kicked it as hard as I could at its lower spine. What was it doing? Was it... What do you mean a suggestive pose? There was an almighty crack as the bone snapped and the skeleton fell in two. A split second later, Kid landed a massive blow on the top half. With its skull shattered, the skeleton came to an immediate halt. Guess he can fight after all. We defeat the skeleton! Kid turned her attention back to Magil. Can't believe this, Drongo, though. Thwack, she brought her fist hard down on his head. Maybe that'll wake you up. Now for down here, let's get a bloody move on. Oh, was I? Oh, ow! That was a mess. My body was screaming with pain and I felt like I might pass out at any moment. If I took much more punishment from Lynx's minions, my night might be over pretty soon. Not bad, Sedge, not bad at all. Didn't know you had it in ya. There was a mischievous glint in Kid's eyes. She roared me with a few rare words of praise. So I think I know what I can do to get my health back here. Okay, so we want to go down the stairs, right? Slowly crept down, deeper in the blackness. The path split in two. Atrium to the plaza, while the right was a winding passageway. So it is past the atrium, if I'm correct. You gotta be kidding me, shouted Kid, glaring at me. Are you telling me to swim through a bloody lake of pteranodons? Yeah, you can count me out, mate. How am I supposed to charm me victims with big chunks bitten out of me? I guess she had a point. Here's a better plan. Why don't you go back to Beatty and try sticking something down his gob? That's what I wanted. Sure enough, she pulled out her bundle of odds and ends. Do I have to? I answered, knowing the answer, which is probably just as well, since Kid only glared at me in response. My hand hovered for a moment before I chose... Okay, so if we do The grapes, we might be able to get some health back. Bag grapes, one by one, and fed them in. Munch, munch. It actually ate them. That's enough. It was my emergency rations. Popped it in my mouth. It was absolutely delicious. That's a heal. Can I keep doing that? All right. Can I do that, like, 3 more times? Because I don't know if we'll be able to... Because that blue looks like it's a heal. Right? We'll see. Okay, I'm gonna just keep grabbing some dried grapes. I love how we just keep doing them.
Serge!
Just keep eating these grapes. Call me the duck who walked up to the lemonade stand. Okay, I'm gonna do it twice more. That should be a full heal, I think. There's gotta be a secret mechanic for HP, right? I feel like it's gotta be what it is. Okay, I kind of like the idea of it being a secret HP mechanic, right? It reminds me of like Resident Evil, where it's like you get things that say, hey, you're hurt, or hey, you're, if nothing appears, it's like you're okay, but you don't know the exact numbers, and you gotta, treat it, carefully. Okay, that should be good. Well, let's put in the hand-shaped plate. I took out the hand-shaped plate we'd found. After taking another look at the runes, I was no closer to working out what they might mean. Here goes nothing. I stuck the plate in the mouth of Truth's marble maw. As soon as I did, its eyes rolled upward. Like, are we talking like that type of face? Okay. The wall gave a light judder. A low rumbling sound came from the sculpture's mouth.
This indeed is the ultimate truth of the universe.
Did you hear something? Yeah. I watched the mouth of Truth in confusion. Its great marble tongue lolled out almost like a snake. It coiled around the plate, seizing it and pulling it deeper inside. What's going on? Oh no, what's going on? I'm in a panic. I looked to Magil for answers. Seems the ineffable truth of the universe has left even the mouth of Truth tongue-tied. Magil answered in his usual deadpan manner. I think you might have been even trying to make a joke? Hang on. So that plate thing you revealed the truth of the universe? And you went and crammed it down Beardy's gullet? You realize how much we could have sold that for? Kid kicked the floor in frustration and snapped her fingers. And then, drains on all sides of the room suddenly opened wide. The red water formed eddies as it sank away. Helpless, the pteranodons were washed away with the current. Soon only trickles of water were left, slowly dripping away. Well, that's a stroke of luck, isn't it? Guess we won't be sleeping with the fishes tonight. Kid grinned, looking at the empty pool. We crossed the drained room, making for the exit on the other side, and pressed on. Cool. We went through the atrium and continued down the corridor before finding ourselves at a fork in the road. The corridor stretched on left and right. Oh, this is new, so I always go left first. Continued down the corridor, eventually reaching an old, rather sturdy-looking door.
Bloody marvellous. Another bloody door with a bloody magic barrier on it. Wonder what's inside. Me sixth sense tells me it ain't treasure.
Kid whispered back as she examined the door. I suspect this is the manor's dungeon, replied Magil, his eyes closed in concentration. I can hear the sound of someone moaning in the darkness on the other side.
But there's nothing we can do, and thus it is of little concern to us. Let's turn back.
With nowhere to go getting through the door, we retraced our steps down the corridor. Yeah, let's go the other way. Came to a branch, takes us to the atrium with the fountain. Completely in darkness. Well, straight on then. I like that I can map it out in my head. We continue down the dark corridor until some stairs leading down. We're going even deeper? I guess we're going down the stairs. This is like the 3rd floor basement. Slowly creeping down the staircase, descending deeper into the shadows as we went. At the bottom, we found ourselves another intersection. Always go left first. We continue on the corridor until it ended at a door covered in scratches and other odd marks. Above the door was a wooden plate. It bore the legend "Guard Room" in elaborate calligraphy.
Well, reckon this might be where we find the key to the door upstairs. No getting past the bloody magic barrier without it.
Kid pressed an ear against the door and listened carefully.
Doesn't sound like anyone's in there, she whispered.
Let's go inside. If no one's in there, I trust you. Kid opened the door. The room had seemed completely silent from the outside, and so we thought it would be empty, but inside was a lone goblin. It was sitting in a chair with a book in its hand. A light steam drifted from the teacup on the table in front of it, and with it a delicate aroma. Oh, he's just reading a book. Look at this guy! Look at this Chad! The goblin peered at us curiously over its spectacles. There's something different about this one. I could tell at as much at a glance.
Heavens, how rare it is to have guests!
Heavens, how well spoken for a goblin. I could only feel dread and suspicion at the sight of him nonetheless.
Sorry, mate, but we're not your guests. Cough up the key to the dungeon if you want to live.
Kid slammed her knife onto the table to illustrate her point, but the goblin didn't so much as flinch.
Ah, you must be Kid. What a pleasure this is. I have always wanted to meet you. Why, even more ravishing than the rumors would.
Before the goblin could finish, Kid's knife flew through the air. With a quick flick of his wrist, the goblin caught the blade with the back of his book, a mere inch from his face.
I see that your approach is as radical as the name of your merry band would suggest,
the goblin said, pulling a knife free and handing it back to Kid. Oh, because they're the radical dreamers. Okay. She took it without a word. But her gaze had changed. She was like a cat, cautiously studying its prey.
And I was just getting to the good part. Well, I suppose I shall have to give up on ever finishing it now.
The goblin casually threw the book over his shoulder and into a nearby bin.
Allow me to introduce myself, if I may. I am Grim-Smelled, and I am the guard on watch. No need to stand, please. But please, do take a seat. You're welcome to tea, of course.
The goblin beckoned us to sit down. Did he mean to poison us? No, I think it's health. If I may. Magical calmly took a seat, ignoring the obvious suspicion in the air. I'm gonna sit down with him. I decided to trust Magic's instincts, took a seat next to him. He had some kind of plan in mind, I'm sure of it. Kid didn't look like she'd be pulling up a chair anytime soon. She was standing with her arms crossed, eyeing the goblin suspiciously. I trust this guy. The goblin poured 3 cups of tea.
Here you are.
Without the slightest hint of hesitation, Magic took the teacup and lifted it to his lips. He sipped and then placed the cup back on its saucer. Hymalian tea. I love it. Not a blend I'd expect to find here.
What a pleasure it is to encounter a fellow connoisseur. Yes, it's a rare blend and one mainly enjoyed by the noble classes.
I couldn't believe the conversation I was hearing, but I also couldn't help but wondering what this rare tea might taste like. My eyes rested on the cup that had been poured for me. I couldn't shake the fear that it might be poison, but I also couldn't ignore how delicious it smelled before I knew it. The cup was in my hands. Oh, this is great! I blurted out. I've never had such a delicious brew in my life. My aches and pains faded away. Well, that's good. We healed there too, yeah. I glanced over at Kid, who was blowing maniacally at the liquid in her cup. I'd forgotten she was paranoid about burning her mouth on things. Which is fair. There's nothing worse than when you burn your mouth on something.
Well, now that we're comfortable, let's get down to brass tacks, as they say. I do indeed have the key to the dungeon, as you surmised, but you will also be aware that I simply cannot give it away.
I glanced over to Kid again. Typical, she wasn't listening to a word Grim-Smelled was saying. She was still huffing and puffing at her tea. It seemed to be up to me to respond. Well, I suppose that means you want something in return.
You know what I want? I want your heads.
Grim-Smelled's eyes glistened behind his spectacles. I pulled out my knife.
Or rather, that's what my employer would like me to say, but now I have no such barbarous aspirations. Furthermore, I doubt I'd be a match for you.
Grim-Smelled chuckled as he said this.
What I live for is the joy of conversation, which I fear my compatriots are ill-equipped to supply. Perhaps you might have 1 or 2 ripping yarns to share. Grinning, he added, I'm sure notorious thieves such as yourselves must have more than a few thrilling tales up your sleeves.
So we wanted to hear a story. That seemed a more than fair price to pay for the key. I closed my eyes and thought, I knew just the story. How did it begin? One night, a young girl was walking alone in the forest, and then she was searching for a golden sunflower, the only way to cure her mother's illness. And then she walked, and I'm just gonna go with this one for now. The fragments I remembered seemed about right. There was only one way the story could end. I took a breath and began my tale. One night, a young girl was walking alone in the forest. She was searching for a golden sunflower, the only way to cure her sick mother's illness. She walked and walked, but the sunflower was nowhere to be found. And then in her moment of darkest despair, she saw a brilliant light. It was none other than the golden sunflower she sought. The young girl gratefully pocketed the sunflower seeds.
These were sure to save my mother,
she thought. She rushed home to give them to her, and her dear mother was hale and hearty once more within days, and they all lived happily ever after. That was beautiful, murmured Kid, wiping a tear from her eye. Grim-Smelled frowned.
Not quite what I was expecting, and not the most riveting of tales, but I suppose it will do.
Ah, the key as promised. I took it from Grimsmeld's hand. Something didn't seem right, though. Was he really going to give up so easily? And was I really right? Was it all right to trust such a strange goblin? Grimsmeld seemed to notice my suspicion. He leaned back in his chair looking at the ceiling. When I was a young tyro, a braver, stupider goblin, I once served General Viper, who was the lord of this manor until his betrayal by Lord Lynx. Despite my boorishness, Lady Riddell always saw something in me worthy of praise. Wait, Riddell? What's Lynx's adopted daughter got to do with anything? Oh, you didn't know? Riddell's real father was none other than General Viper himself. What? Lord Lynx spared Lady Riddell's life so as not to snuff out that of the frozen flame. It's an uncanny stone, you see, has a life of its own and some kind of a spiritual bond with Lady Riddell. If only there was some way I could free milady from this manor. Alas, I am powerless to do such a thing. Of course I would have no qualms if, say, you were to topple the usurper. I assume you intend to. Slay the old beast, I mean. It was a strange inquiry to make so casually. Well, if it comes to it. It's a little more taken aback by the directness of Grimsmeld's questions. I'd never expect to find one of Lynx's own guards asking me something like that. Suddenly I was shoved aside. Not if it comes to it. We're gonna kill him tonight. And kill him good. It was Kid, of course. And in exchange, I'll have some more of that tea to take with us. Kid held out her hand before Grimsmeld could offer an answer. I suppose I have a bag I can share. Grimsmeld shuffled awkwardly and as soon as he retrieved it. As ever, I was impressed at how Kid's uncompromising attitude and willingness to speak her mind seemed to always get her what she wanted. Bonza! Sit tight and leave the rest to us, mate. Stowing the bag in her pocket, Kid took the job. You can trust me. I'm a girl of me word. That might have been the biggest lie she'd ever told. Right, let's get moving. She made for the door with a spring in her step. We left the room and Grimsmeld behind. I really like Grimsmeld. What a bro. What a dude. I love him. We left the room and took the left corridor. So we haven't gone to the... so we haven't gone to the other place, but I feel like we gotta rush, right? So I'm actually not gonna go to that room just yet. Until we are lost and don't go somewhere, I'm gonna go up the stairs into the other room, which is to the left again. With Kid taking the lead, we started to climb the narrow staircase. Reached up, found ourselves along the corridor. We continued on. So now, because we came the other way, we want to go right. Yeah. Okay, so straight toward the cell. That's where we need to go, yeah. Sorry, I'm bad with directions. We continued down the corridor, eventually reaching an old, rather sturdy-looking door. Right. Key we got from that creepy old goblin should do the trick. Kid slipped the key into the lock. The heavy door groaned slightly as it slowly swung open. Clammy air rose up around our feet as if crawling blindly through the darkness. This didn't seem like the kind of place anyone in their right mind would visit voluntarily. Ooh. Oh, don't do like an Ao-Oni thing where like the hands come out and then the face. I'll scream. We pushed the heavy iron door the rest of the way open and stepped into the darkness. There was a row of cells, all locked behind iron bars. 1, 2... Oh, Gulliver, Melgid, Saranda, forgive me, please, please forgive me. Who's this? I heard a voice from the third cell, whimpering and crying pathetically. I strained my eyes to look inside. Faintly in the darkness, I could see something that looked like a man sitting on the floor, so this was the source of the voice. Oi, you alright, mate? Kid called out to the figure. Forgive me, it's all my fault. It's my fault. The dragoons never deserved this. General, Lady Riddell. Oh, forgive me, I beg of you. The old man didn't seem to respond to us at all. He only sat on the floor begging forgiveness for who knew what. Hello? Can you hear me? Asked Kid, trying again. There'll be no getting through to him. His real self will have long since retreated inside the shell he has created, said Madrill, cutting her off. Shell? Shell, what do you mean? I asked. He has built a shell around the core of his psyche in order to shield himself from the truth. He is running from something terrible. He has seen something, or been through something, or has done something. And so he has created his own world on the inside as a final refuge. The outside world lost him forever. I looked at Madrill in surprise. I detected a hint of unspoken sadness in his words, and for some reason he was looking at Kid. Watching over her, she stared at the man in the cell. Seeming to notice my gaze, Magil turned back to face me, assuming his usual emotionless expression once more. We live in a world of sorrow and foolishness. It's only inevitable that some would try to escape it. But despite his hard words, his eyes retained a certain softness, his steely gaze giving way to a gentle light. Do you understand? No, I do, I think so. He gave a slightly evasive answer. You seem confused. I don't blame you. You'll come to understand eventually. Magil looked at me and Kid. What was that all about, I wonder? We're not going to get much out of him. He's miles away. Let's just leave him be and try someplace else. He had made for the door of the dungeon. Wait, called Magil. We must find some way to get this man to speak. What for? I mean, he's speaking already, just none of it makes sense. What are you after? Some things he said piqued my curiosity. He mentioned the Dragoons, and Riddell, too. So? He said the Dragoons are ancient history, snapped Kid. Besides, how can we trust anything he says? It's clearly going off his rocker. She had a point. The old man had long since cut his ties to the real world. What did Magil expect him to say? Without missing a beat, Magil replied, We simply have to bring him back to reality. And how are we going to do that? Want me to do a little dance for him? See if that gets his motor going? I'm not going to stop her. I knew if I said anything, I'd get nothing but an earful of a lifetime in return, so I clamped my hands over my mouth to save myself. What are you playing at, Sedge? Kid seemed unimpressed. That was a close one. I don't think that would work, said Magil dryly. Kid's fist threw straight towards his face. But Magil shifted his weight effortlessly, avoiding the attack. I love how half the damage you can take is from Kid. We must break through the shell he has created and drag him back to the real world. In order to do that, we'll need some kind of key. Something that'll reach him even though through the barrier he's erected. Yeah? Where are we gonna find this key? Asked Kid suspiciously. I don't know, came Magil's simple reply. But there is someone in this manor who can tell us. You're not talking about Riddell, are you? I am, Magil replied with a nod. Alright, fine. Don't know what the hell you expected to tell us, though. Kid turned on her heel and made for the door. We left the gibbering old man dungeon alone with his sorrow. So we could go to Riddell's room, or we could go to that other room. I'm going to go to the other room first. Branch the path, so we're going to go downstairs. Yeah. Let's go down to the stairs and go to the other place. Sitting down the dark, dank corridor, stairs into view, we went down the stairs. So crept down the staircase, going deeper. Bottom from us, another intersection. Okay, so we want to go to the right path. Followed the corridor for a while before coming across a small door. Get a whiff of that. Something smells good, whispered Kid, sniffing at the air. Sounds like a kitchen. Let's at least check it out. We opened the door. Blimey, it's a small kitchen. Must be for the servants, commented Magil. That's a mouse. Scan our surroundings. A basin for washing dishes, cooking utensils, some food made for ready for tomorrow, and a mousetrap. Looked like any other commoner's kitchen. Kid walked over to a large pot filled with food and peered inside. I'm going to say no for now. A for poison and B for we already healed. I made my excuse as politely as I could. Kid clicked her tongue in disappointment. All right then, you want some, Madge? No. Ah, fine, well, if you're afraid to try it, I ain't touching it either, she said, turning her back on the pot. Suddenly, a little voice rang out. You there, the young man with the braid. Kid froze. Oh my god, are you calling Kid a man? Oi! Who are you calling a bloke? Kid barked angrily in the direction the voice was coming from. A mouse was looking at us with eyes like saucers, from the inside of a mousetrap hanging in from the wall in the corner of the room. I'm sorry, you're a very young lady, I see. The mouse bowed its head in apology. Please, kind young lady, you must hear me out. The mouse put its paws together and stared pleadingly at Kid. I left the nest to find food for my mother, but as you can see, I managed to get myself caught in a trap. If you leave me here, I will surely be eaten by goblins. Kid eyed the little creature suspiciously. I beg of you, please, free me from this trap. My mother is sick, and she'll be terribly worried about what has become of me. The mouse was clearly begging for its life, but there was also an odd little glint in its eye. Kid shrugged inside. Fine, guess we can't just leave you to rot. Hold still, let's get you out of here. She lifted the trap down on the floor and opened the door. The mouse bounded happily up from inside. The mouse gave a wicked chuckle. You poor now, you fool! Suddenly its body began to balloon massively in size. Mega Mouse? Bugger me, a griffin! The enormous creature stared balefully down at us.
Idiot humans! My mother is not sick, but yours will be when she sees what I've done to you!
You dirty little swine! And after everything I've done for you! Kid's face was red with anger. The griffin gave an almighty cry as it leapt at us. This is a small room to fight in. Jump away with a back step. Caught off guard, I tried my best to dodge the attack, but the blow never came. The griffin lost sense of balance and came crashing to the ground. Nice.
Oh, bother, I'm too hungry to fight properly.
What on earth? I breathed a sigh of relief, running a hand down on my chest. All right, little mouse, now it's time for the real show to begin. Kid walked up to the griffin, cracking her knuckles.
Please, kindly, young lady, this is all a misunderstanding, a terrible misunderstanding.
Panicking creature leapt to its feet.
You can't kill me. I have useful information. If you let me go, I promise I'll tell you everything. I know everything.
Yeah? I know how much a promise from the likes of you is worth. Kid took another step toward the griffin, not skipping a beat.
Please.
Kid kept on coming. The griffin kept shrinking away. I'm actually going to open up the menu. I'm going to pop a save point, and I want information if we can get it.
Enough.
Kid called for magical stop. Okay, no, let's hear it.
Oh, thank you, kind sir.
The griffin was beside itself with relief. Spoil my fun, why don't you? Grumbled Kid, pouting as she turned away. I hate how I have to speak fast in battle. That's for me being bad, but as a gameplay, I love it.
Listen well, O merciful saver. Right, thrice. Left, twice. Right, twice.
Thank you, Nintendo Switch.
Should you find yourself trapped in one of Link's swirling snares, remember my words.
Right 3 times, left twice, right twice. Okay. With that, the griffin returned to its mouse-like form and disappeared into a small hole in the wall. Trapped in Link's snares. As if I'd be thick enough to walk into one of his traps. Let's get out of here. We waste enough time already. Kid turned on her heel and made for the door. We left the kitchen. I'm going to save that food for later, if we need it. Leaving the room, we took a right down the corridor and followed it before coming to an intersection. So let's go. The corridor was also directly ahead of us, but the way was shrouded in darkness. No, we don't need to go to the guard room. Let's go upstairs. Yeah, let's go to her room. Kid taking the lead, we started claiming the names. For ourselves a long, straight corridor, we continued on. Working the path, take us to the atrium, take us to the door. So we want to go to the atrium. Corridor was dark and cloudy. We pressed on, and soon the entrance to the atrium came into view. So back to being a fountain. Now we arrived back in the atrium. An exit leading to Riddell, and yeah, so you want to go to Riddell's room. Continue on. I really like how well it's written so that you can tell where you are. Leaving the atrium behind, we immediately found ourselves at a fork in the road. So we want to go continue on the path because it said it was this way. Continue on the path ahead. Eventually we came across an ornate door on the right-hand side. It was Riddell's room, Lynx's daughter. So let's go inside. Either she's here or there'll be a hint as to her being here. We found ourselves in a tidy, welcoming room. Also, there's a mirror. The knickknacks and curios dotted around the place seemed to be well loved. The stately desk and cozy-looking bed nearby, meanwhile, suggested the room's occupant was no stranger to luxury. Though the room was richly furnished, somehow it felt awfully lonely. Is someone there? Came the voice of a young woman. We shrank into the shadows. The woman appeared from deeper within the room. She was lightly made up and had a gentle, unthreatening air about her. It was Lynx's daughter. Strange. I'm sure I heard someone. I was at a loss for what to do for a moment. But before I'd had much time to do much more than hold my breath, Kid had already darted over. And thrust her knife out, stopping the blade only a hair's breadth from the woman's neck. Where's the frozen frame? Yes, that's it. Where's the frozen flame? Answer me. Her voice came out in a harsh growl. I rushed in to hold Kid back before she hurt the poor woman. Kid, do we really have to do it this way? Shut your trap, Serge. Riddell couldn't help but giggle as she watched us bickering. What are you laughing at? Kid shot Riddell a harsh look. It's just, you don't seem like thieves at all. You little, you want me to cut you, girl? I'd be surprised if that knife could cut anything. For a moment I felt faint imagining Riddell on the floor covered in blood. But then, clang. Kid had thrown her knife to the floor and saw that it was only a letter opener. Didn't think you noticed. Whatever. I'm not here to mess around killing the likes of you anyway. I have no desire for bloodshed either, said Riddell, in a voice that was almost a whisper. I am not your enemy. In fact, I want to help you. There wasn't a hint of hesitation or deception in her voice. Let me guess. You're trapped in the mana too. Riddell lowered her eyes sadly in response to Kid's question. The frozen flame should never have been allowed to fall into Lynx's hands. Riddell spoke quietly. Ooh, again, the Chrono Trigger music. But deep emotion clearly underpinned her words. The flame was once the property of an ancient kingdom to the north, who kept it for generations. That place is called Guardia, by the way. So, there was an ending to the original Chrono Trigger PS1 version that wasn't in the Steam version. There's a short, 12-second scene that shows 2 plot points that are very important. Guardia falling, and the Masamune disappearing. That's it. But Guardia falling was a thing. It is said to have the uncanny power to guide people and change history itself. After the kingdom fell, the flame changed hands countless times, until eventually it came into my father's possession. That was before I was born. Sometime later, Lynx became aware of the flame's true value and approached my father under the false pretenses of friendship. Not a soul suspected what his true intentions were. And then, on that horrible day, he destroyed everything. He killed everything. Riddell shook her head and then buried her face in her hands. I don't care about the frozen flame. I don't care about that stupid accursed stone. It means nothing to me. I just want to take it away from Lynx and smash it to pieces right in front of him. And only we can make that happen. Riddell looked up with surprise as Magil spoke. No one else in the world can seize that jewel from Lynx. Riddell stared speechlessly, and then in a low voice she whispered, What can I do to help you? There's a survivor of the I was like, is this him? This is. There's a survivor of the Acacia Dragoons in the dungeon who we want to help. And if we're to help him, we need your help, said Magil, taking a step forward. What? That man is a traitor. It's because of him that Zoranda. Zoranda. Please, it's the only way. Riddell turned her back to us and hung her head low. Oh my god, that's what she looks like? Wow, you got a major change in character design for Chrono Cross. Holy crap. That's hugely different. The Chamber of Death. There might be something to bring him back to his senses there. After all, it was there that he chose to abandon his pride, his life. I assume the Chamber of Death must be the cell with the trapped ceiling. Riddell nodded. Yeah, it's gonna be a problem. Sorry, kid. That thing damn near killed us last time. You will need to take the Einlanzer with you. Einlanzer. Oh, what? It is a sacred sword that is said to have been forged by an ancient sage and a sister blade to the Crimson Cursed Masamune. There's a lot there. The timeless blessing of the Einlancer will surely keep you safe from the Chamber of Death's wickedness. It used to be such a sight to see it in the hands of Zoranda. It danced like the wind, shone like the stars, and struck like lightning. Lost in the memories of fonder times, Riddell once more bowed her head. Forgive me, I have little more to tell you. You've done more than enough. We'll take our leave now, said Magil, turning and making for the door. I wish I had the strength to change things like you do, whispered Riddell, biting her lip. Kid hesitated for a moment, seemingly deep in thought. It ain't about strength, it's about having a purpose, something to fight for. I'll be praying for you. Kid shot Riddell a look over her shoulder. Great, maybe you can cross your fingers too. We left the room. Alright, so we need to get the Einlancer. Where the frick can we get that? I don't know where we get that. Maybe it's out of the atrium? I don't know, man. I don't know, but regardless, we're going to call it here. And next time, we're going to go check out the, we're going to look for the Einlancer and then go through the Chamber of Death, which was where we went, first. So I'll need to remember how to get back there. Thank you all for watching, everyone, and we'll see you then for some more. Ciao.